Coming up, Amazon Prime comes to Southwest Missouri to highlight MSSU. Plus, we'll take a look at your morning forecast as storms move through the 4 states. And also, Pittsburgh police work on their cardio for a good cause.
The 4 states' most watched news.
Good morning
now.
and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We will get to those stories in just a moment, but first let's pop up our 7-day forecast if we have that available. There we go. Here's a look at Storm Tracker. As right now it's looking pretty clear in the 4-state area. Earliest of our storms have moved through and are headed east through Missouri. Well, Governor Stitt signs a bill to allow law enforcement to keep secret audio or video recordings showing an officer dying in the line of duty. The bill Stitt signed was drafted after Tulsa police were required by Oklahoma law to release video of a suspect shooting 2 officers, one of whom later died. The bill prohibits the public disclosure of such video unless a judge determines the public interest outweighed the reason for denial. It also authorizes a deceased officer's family members to view the audio or video. Amazon Prime will be shining a spotlight on Missouri Southern. The streaming service is on campus filming a series called The College Tour. It's hosted by a former winner of The Amazing Race, Alex Bolin. The series highlights life on college and university campuses around the globe by sharing the personal stories of current students and focusing on academics, housing, and athletics.
No, we always say, this is reality at its finest. Because it's real students and it's their real stories. And we just kind of bring that to life with the episode of television.
Film crew will be on campus and around Joplin through Friday. Baby formula may be harder to find for some. A shortage of baby formula, inflation, and product recalls have made it harder for families to find the formula. Newton County Health Department's WIC program says they've been receiving more calls asking for what to do if parents cannot find formula. So has local pediatrician Dr. Beth Garrett. Garrett has some advice for anyone looking for formula amid this shortage.
Of course, if you're heavily on the formula with your infant and all of a sudden you can't get that, then that creates a problem. And so we have had some calls wondering why, and we explained the situation with the recall.
For more do's and don'ts of using baby formula alternatives, you can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Pittsburgh police worked on their cardio for a good cause as part of the 41st annual law enforcement torch run. Officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month.
So when we run into the stadium and they're kind of cheering for us, and then we get to cheer for them, and then after we're done we change into uniform and we go hand out the medals to them. So that's really fun.
Torch runs will also be held statewide, culminating in Wichita for the Summer Games in early June. Well, starting next week, area gardeners will make their way to Neosho, Missouri for the high school's annual plant sale. Neosho Future Farmers of America the Neosho FFA will be selling plants ranging from flowers and bedding plants to potted plants and vegetables. Plants have been grown by local agriculture and FFA students. The money raised will go back into the high school's greenhouse as well as some activities, including a summer camp.
Yeah, they get the knowledge base for raising plants and taking care of plants, but they also get to see the finished product go out to customers, and they get to see that customer service and customer satisfaction with a quality final product.
The plant sale will run next Tuesday through Thursday from 3:30 to 6. Joplin School District staff members are going to see some pay raises. Joplin Board of Education on Tuesday approved an updated agreement with employees' bargaining units to provide the raises across most positions. Those units, Joplin National Education Association and Joplin Education Support Professionals, have been fighting for pay increases. The amount of the increase will depend on how long the employee has worked for the district.
I want to work where our students are taken care of, and also the fact that we have an opportunity to not only have good working conditions, but we also have a voice. And that's the difference that Joplin schools our teachers have a voice here. If there's any issues, we take care of it immediately and make sure it's a good working environment.
The agreement for bus drivers, custodians, and maintenance workers will be in place until June 30th, 2023. For teachers, librarians, and counselors, it will run until June 30th, 2024. Well, several lanes of an Illinois interstate were blocked on Tuesday after a crash involving a cattle truck. The truck collided with a semi-truck on Interstate 80 in Joliet, and several cows ended up loose on the highway. Some animals didn't survive the crash, though. Professionals on horseback were called in to help wrangle some of the cattle. Interstate reopened after all the animals were accounted for. That's a look at this morning's top stories in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pittsburgh and Columbus face off in softball. Did Columbus go undefeated? We're going to have your answer. Plus, a teacher goes viral for performing drag during a staff talent show. This morning, we want to know, have you ever seen a local drag show? And the 4 states start to feel the effects of formula recalls. Very own Bronte Sorotsky has more. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. The Columbus Titans remain unbeaten at the midway point in the season. They're perfect 11-0 heading into last night's doubleheader. Columbus aims to stay perfect on the road against Pittsburgh. First inning, Lily Mooney grounds out, but Katie Simpson is able to score from third to get the Titans on the board. And then bases loaded for Lexi Stone. She hits it back up the middle to score off the double. 3-0 Columbus. Next inning, Gracie Major, there she is, lays down a bunt. Throw goes to first, so Simpson is able to come home safely. And now to the bottom half, where Aubrey Saporito keeps the Purple Dragons off the board. 3 straight strikeouts here. Nice. And now to the third. Pittsburgh hits a line drive to third base. Columbus turns the double play to end the inning. Saporito gets the shutout in the third. Columbus takes game 1, 8-0. Now to game 2, a big win for the Purple Dragons. Pittsburgh hands Columbus its first loss of the season, 6-2. Titans track and field hosting the Columbus Invitational yesterday afternoon. In the girls' long jump, Independence's Nala Burns wins with that jump right there, reaching 15 feet 9 inches. Lacia Harris is right on her tail with a mark of 15 feet 8.5 inches. It's good for second place for Pittsburgh. Let's see, the Galena boys dominating on the pole vault, getting the top 3 marks of the day. Randy Cockrell wins the event with a mark of 12 feet 8 inches. Logan Ward comes in second place, hitting 11 feet. What a soar. Pitt State is on the road for some midweek non-conference action. The Gorillas have lost their last 4, aiming to get back on track yesterday as they entered the final stretch of the regular season. Pitt State at Missouri S&T, the first of 2 games between these teams this season. The Miners win this one 5-2. Garrett McGowan goes 3 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Jordan Maxson and Cruz Aranda drive in 2 runs for the Gorillas. Pitt State is back in action for a series against Newman starting on Thursday. Well, Pitt State track and field racks up honors. The MIAA released the Athletes of the Week, and 3 Gorillas earn recognition. Braylon Brewer earns Athlete of the Week honors for the 2nd straight week. He posted the fastest time in Division II this season in the 400-meter dash, running it, and get this, 46.28 seconds. Brewer also helped the Gorillas by 4x400-meter relay team, securing a historic win. LJ Kiner set the top mark in Division II this season in the triple jump. And finally, Blakely Wynn had the 2nd best mark in Division II this season in the heptathlon, including the 4th best long jump mark in school history. Congratulations to the Gorillas there. Still to come, Afghanistan experiences a tragedy as a school experiences a bombing. Plus, check with your 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Video of a drag performance goes viral. It's drawing both support and criticism from people across the country, and that performance wasn't at a club or a venue. It was at a Wisconsin high school staff talent show Ward Jollies explains how the teacher at the center of it all plans to move forward.
When Middleton High School teacher Matt Cashton heard the school was bringing back their staff talent show this year, he says he knew a drag performance was what he wanted to do.
So I'm like, this opportunity could be cool to show my art, my version of art, but it's also a cool opportunity for me to show students, like, who cares? Just go be yourself.
But while the performance was fun and the crowd ecstatic, not everyone was happy. Cashton says a concerned parent emailed the school about the performance shortly after and shared it on social media and with a conservative media outlet, drawing criticism from all over.
People were calling me a groomer, people were calling me a pedophile, people were calling me a narcissist. It was homophobic.
Cashton says he had received an okay on the performance from an organizer ahead of time. After the criticism, an official with the school district told 27 News, going forward, staff performances will be vetted by a team, including an administrator. But even after loads of hate mail from people across the country, Cashton says the amount of support he received from his students in the school district went beyond anything he could have imagined.
And the coolest thing was that when I went back to school after all of this media stuff had happened, all around the school there were these signs posted saying, "We support you, LGBTQ rights matter."
Cashton says even after the ups and downs of the past week, he has no regrets.
This whole experience honestly made me want to do drag more. All this has done has, like I said before, just showed me the power of drag and how important it is for our community.
Cashton says he will continue to do drag at local venues going forward. Now, he won't be teaching at Middleton High School next year for reasons unrelated to the performance. And that brings us to our something to talk about. We're asking this morning, have you ever been to a local drag show? You can log on to our Insta poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or go to our KOAM Facebook page and weigh in and tell us if you've ever been to a local show. Real quickly now, let's go ahead and take a look at our 7-day forecast. Today, it's going to be a little bit warmer. Finally, looking forward to that. Breezy, cloudy with rain showers, likely slight chance of thunderstorms throughout the day. Partly sunny later on, though, with a chance of rain showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms. High in the upper 60s today. Yeah, reaching 67. Looking forward to that. Now tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy with lows in the 40s with northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, shifting to the southeast after midnight. Now for Thursday, get ready for the warm up. We've got a slight chance of rain showers, but the sun hopefully will peek out for us just a little bit. We've got highs in the mid 70s for us here. The winds are going to be a little bit higher though, so hold on to your hats tomorrow for sure. And then Thursday night, a little bit warmer evening there, 67, that'll be nice, with mostly cloudy with showers and a chance of thunderstorms as well. Friday though, breezy, sunny, highs in the lower 80s. Have we done that yet this year? We'll have to check in with Michael later and find out. 81 degrees, let's see if we can hit that. Then of course, great temperatures for the weekend, but we've got showers likely and a chance of thunderstorms throughout Saturday and Sunday, so we'll be keeping an eye on that and giving you a better look as the news progresses this morning. We'll be right back with Health Watch when we return. Topping Health Watch this morning, baby formula shortages are hitting the country. Area residents say they are feeling the effects. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with officials with an area WIC program and a local pediatrician on the impact the formula shortage can have on family.
Anyone looking for baby formula in stores may be finding it harder amid recent recalls and shortages. U.S. retailers are limiting the amount of baby formula sold.
And of course, if you're heavily on the formula with your infant, and all of a sudden you can't get that, then that creates a problem.
The Newton County Health Department's WIC program has been receiving more calls as of late, with concerned parents wondering why they can't find formula.
We have had some calls wondering why, and we explained the situation with the recall and then refer them to other brands that they can try.
Baby formula brands like Similac may be harder to find, but luckily there are some alternatives.
There are lots of good generic formulas that are going to let their baby be healthy and strong. And then they realize that they can save money in this economy. Who doesn't want to save some money?
Dr. Beth Garrett, a pediatrician with Freeman Children's Clinic, says recently she's dealt with many people concerned about finding formula.
Below the age of 12 months, if a baby is not breastfeeding, you really do need formula. They cannot drink cow's milk or goat's milk. There are some big nutritional problems that can lead to hospitalization if you use a milk other than formula. Breastfeeding is the gold standard, but we know that not all families can breastfeed due to various reasons.
For anyone trying to make their formula go farther, Dr. Garrett has a few warnings.
Some people will try to thin out their formula to make it to the next paycheck, or because maybe they can't find it, and that will cause their sodium levels to be lower. And that also can lead to seizures and to hospitalization, the baby being sick.
For best results, use the formula as instructed by a pediatrician. In Joplin and Neosho, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
For more do's and don'ts of using baby formula alternatives, you can head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching KOAM Morning News. Here's another look at our 7-day forecast. We've got temperatures warming up today, cloudy with a chance of rain showers, thunderstorms, and drizzle throughout the morning, then sunny in the afternoon. Highs in the upper 60s today, with south winds reaching from 15 to 20 miles per hour throughout the day, shifting to the northwest in the afternoon. Chance of precipitation, though, throughout the afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy with lows in the mid-40s, northeast winds a little bit lower, shifting to the southeast after midnight. And then Thursday, we're going to be fighting those rain shower chances again until we get a warm up later this week. See if we can hit 81 degrees on Friday. We'll be right back. Coming up, Amazon Prime comes to Southwest Missouri to highlight Missouri Southern. And we'll take a look at your 7-day forecast. We've got a chance of storms throughout the next couple of days. Also, Pittsburgh police work on their cardio for a good cause.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is just before 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We will get to those. Actually, let's go ahead and go to those stories. Are you ready? All right, let's check in with Michael and our 7-day forecast.
All right, the Skywatch storm tracker. Skywatch storm tracker Tanya is going to throw up a little rain activity that we're already seeing coming down, especially down to the northwest. If you've got to be on the road, I-49 is going to be dominated today, especially down south of I-44. We are seeing some scattered rain activity throughout the southern portion of southwest Missouri. Right now in Joplin, from boots on the ground that I just recently talked to, they are on the dry side, but we'll have more that will continue to roll through throughout the course of the morning. Heaviest of our rain right now through central Missouri, so we are on the dry side the farther west that you go, but do want to point out that it is going to be the beginning of a wet middle of the week. Don't go anywhere without the umbrella until we really get to Thursday, because it will continue to come down. Our temperatures, meanwhile, very, very mild. That is the nice part about it, as we are up into the high 50s, if not 60s. Remember, this is coming off of the frost advisory and freeze warnings that we just had the other day, so that's not too bad. As far as our weather trend goes for today, the rain's sticking around all the way through tonight. By the time it's all said and done, still looking at 1.25 to 1.75 of rain with mostly cloudy skies. Highs up into the mid-60s. Once again, the lightning is going to pose the greatest threat for today. And nice thing is, no flood warnings. And really, flooding shouldn't be a concern. Look at the hydrographs yesterday. Our rivers are actually pretty low, all things considered, despite the fact And this is despite the fact that yesterday we talked about our rain being about an inch and a half above what we had at this point in time last year.
Well, we need the rain, so we shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
Unless you talk to the wrong person.
What we need here we go. And what we need is a little warmth. Because but look at this, even after we're done here today, look at this, we're right back at it tomorrow morning. And so that's why the rain just kind of lingers around. Not going to say we don't need the rain, but what we need is a little warmth. Have you noticed how everything's not so green right now?
Yeah, very true. But I haven't had much opportunity to mow, so the more it rains and then warmth will make it green up. And
it's going to stay wet as well.
Yes.
That's why I said Monday was the best chance to brave the cold and get the mowing done.
No, it was too cold to do it. Yesterday I should have done it.
Yesterday didn't turn out too bad.
Yesterday was a nice day, yeah. And it seemed to get warmer throughout the day.
It did get a little warm up there, especially after that initial wind shifted on us. Yeah, because I was outside when it shifted and I went, ooh, this is going to get chilly. And that stabilized during the afternoon.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about the need for warmth with it too, but this is me paying attention.
Yeah.
Creates instability when you have that warmth.
Diurnal heating. It's fancy, such a fancy meteorological name.
That sounds like a medical problem.
Diurnal heating means, the afternoon when it gets warm. We'll just call it that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, on Tuesday, a local woman was surprised with racing tickets. You may remember Helen Hubbard. We ran a story about the then 100-year-old lifelong Chiefs fan a couple of years ago. Remember when the Kansas City won the Super Bowl? Well, now at 102, a couple, Kayla and Dwayne Barnhart, surprised Helen at St. Luke's Assisted Living Center in Carthage with tickets to a NASCAR race in Kansas City. This is something that has always been a dream of Helen's.
So many nice people in this world that do nice things for me. I've really had a lot of good, exciting things.
Got the honor of meeting Helen a couple of years ago too. Lovely lady. Well, that NASCAR race will happen in September. Next week, area gardeners will make their way to Neosho, Missouri for the high school's annual plant sale. Neosho FFA will be selling plants ranging from flowers and bedding plants to potted plants and vegetables. Plants have been grown by local agriculture and FFA students. The money raised will go back into the high school's greenhouse and help fund some activities, including summer camp.
The plant sale is kind of like the end of our year-long project. So in ag, we do a lot of hands-on learning. And so this is a great opportunity for students to not only learn about raising and caring for plants, but to see the end product go out to customers.
Plant sale will be next Tuesday through Thursday from 3:30 to 6. Pittsburgh police work on their cardio for a good cause. As part of the 41st annual law enforcement torch run, officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month.
This is what I do. I've been involved in law enforcement torch run for over 16 years. So not only doing the torch run, but the polar plunge and all of the other Special Olympic events we do across the state and across the nation. It's amazing to get to do this.
Torch runs will also be held statewide, culminating in Wichita for the Summer Games in early June. Amazon Prime will be shining a spotlight on Missouri Southern. The streaming service is on campus filming a series called The College Tour, showcasing colleges and universities across the globe. KOAM's Jalen Banks has more.
Amazon Prime's The College Tour is a show that travels all over the world, covering and highlighting schools and universities. Former Amazing Race winner Alex Boylan hosts the show. He and film crew are in Southwest Missouri this week to feature Joplin's own Missouri Southern.
It's going to be a more perfect place to do an episode of the College Tour. You know what this university stands for, the experiential education, the fact that Joplin is a really cool town, the surrounding area is beautiful, but the fact that it's such a health care hub, And the programs that this university has that is associated and partnered with the healthcare system, it's just the story we had to tell.
The show aims to highlight a multitude of things at the university, such as the biology pond, athletics, health sciences, and the mock trial courtroom.
Yeah, I can scroll down, yeah.
Alex says it's important to show the raw student experience.
You know, we always say, I mean, this is reality at its finest. I mean, because it's real students and it's their real stories. And we just kind of bring that to life with the episode of television.
In Joplin, at Missouri Southern State University, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Film crew will be on campus and around Joplin through Friday. The episode featuring Missouri Southern will air in 2 months.
Before we talk about our rain, let's talk about our wind, because we've got a wind advisory for those counties indicated there in the tan. As we creep through the morning hours, the wind is going to increase. We're already seeing anywhere from about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now let's talk about the rain. Coming down right here in the southern portion of southwest Missouri, south of I-44, because eventually it is going to spread out all throughout the 4 states. But that's where we're seeing the hardest rain right now, is in McDonald County. A little bit of a line up I-49. 49 is really what's going to be bombarded for today. Our temperatures right now ranging in between 51s out on the far eastern edge. Look at that Stockton-Monette-Cassville line. All the way up close to 60 degrees, which is what we see in Neodesha and in Yates Center. And temperature-wise, certainly not going to be too bad. It's incrementally warming up this week, up into the 60s later on. But let's talk a little bit about our rain, because once we get started here, we become widespread for the morning hours. Going to be a wet Wednesday and wet Thursday as well. Every now and then we'll get a bout of what turns out to be the good old orange and dark red. And remember, that's a torrential downpour that lasts us all the way into Thursday morning. Kind of getting a little bit more widespread. We get intermittent breaks every now and then, but for the most part, not clearing off really until we get into Friday, say later morning hours. Friday's still looking to be delightful though. Partly sunny skies and highs up into the 80s.
This morning, we're talking drag shows. Middleton, Wisconsin high school teacher named Matt Cashton, he may think he's just like any other normal teacher, but he did something recently that went viral, performing drag in a staff talent show. Cashton's performance was met with both support and criticism. Actually, I hear a lot of cheers on the video. The crowd at the school loved it, but concerned parents did not, with one parent even sharing it on social media and a conservative media outlet. However, while the district did support Cashton, they did say any and all performances in the future will be vetted because of the incident. That brings us to our something to talk about.
Question being, have you ever been to a local drag show? Right now, Tanya, we are split right down the middle, 50-50, saying half our respondents have been to one, half of our respondents have not. Of course, you can take part each and every morning by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connecting to us via our Facebook page.
All right, thanks, Michael. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. We take a look at the latest entertainment news, including a third Wonder Woman movie. All right. Plus, Russia appears to have abandoned several of its positions near Chernobyl. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch. In Afghanistan, at least 6 people are dead and dozens more injured following attacks on 2 schools in western Kabul Tuesday. The explosion happened in the Hazara neighborhood, home to a large community of Shiite Muslims from Afghanistan's Hazara ethnic minority. Emergency, a group that offers free medical and surgical treatment to civilians, says 700 injured children were taken to the hospital. That specific region has been targeted in the past by Islamic State. May 2021, a bombing at a girls' school in the area killed at least 85 people. Taliban denied any involvement in the blast, and no militant groups claimed responsibility at the time. Most of the victims were teenage girls. There's been no official claim on responsibility in Tuesday's attack. Russia appears to have abandoned several of its positions near Chernobyl. Ukraine's state nuclear agency released footage on Tuesday showing structures, supplies, vehicles, and trenches left behind in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. The area is best known as the site of the 1986 nuclear disaster. An inspection of the site will be impossible since even walking in the area is discouraged due to radiation still lingering from the damaged reactor. Well, the newest Middle East violence has escalated with Palestinian militants firing a rocket into Israel overnight and Israel launching its first airstrikes on Gaza in months. That follows several days of fighting between Palestinians and Israeli police at a holy site in Jerusalem. Chris Van Cleve is following the violence at a very difficult moment.
Airstrikes light up the night sky over the Gaza Strip as tensions mount. The Israeli military says it was targeting a weapons manufacturing site belonging to Hamas and comes in response to a rocket fired into southern Israel. No injuries were reported. Violence has been escalating since Friday. Clashes between Palestinians and Israeli police have centered around the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, which is also the site of an ancient Jewish temple. It's the third most sacred site in Islam and the holiest for Jews. Sunday, police entered the compound to arrest Palestinians barricaded inside and blocked Muslim access to allow Jews and tourists to pray. The unrest comes at a rare convergence of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, Easter, and Passover, coupled with the first chance for crowds to gather at the holy site since the pandemic. The violence is prompting, quote, deep concern from the State Department.
We, as we did on Friday, continue to call on all sides to exercise restraint, to avoid provocative actions and rhetoric, and preserve the historic status quo on the Haram al-Sharif Temple Mount. We also continue to urge Israeli and Palestinian officials to work cooperatively to lower tensions and ensure the safety of everyone.
Clashes at the same site last May prompted an 11-day war, killing more than 200 before ending in a ceasefire. Now, a series of Palestinian attacks inside Israel have killed 14 in recent weeks, prompting Israeli raids in the West Bank, where at least 26 Palestinians have died.
State Department says U.S. diplomats have been in touch with their counterparts in the region, trying to calm tensions. The United Nations Security Council is holding a closed-door meeting focused on the spike in violence. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signs a bill to allow law enforcement to keep secret audio or video recordings showing an officer dying in the line of duty. The bill Stitt signed was drafted after Tulsa police were required by Oklahoma law to release video of a suspect shooting two officers, one of whom later died. The bill prohibits the public disclosure of such video unless a judge determines the public interest outweighs the reason for denial. It also authorizes a deceased officer's family members to view the audio or video. Baby formula may be harder to find for some. A shortage of baby formula, inflation, and product recalls made it harder for families to find the formula. Newton County Health Department's WIC program says they've been receiving more calls asking what to do if parents cannot find formula. So is local pediatrician Dr. Beth Garrett. Garrett has some advice for anyone looking for formula amid this shortage. You can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com to find tips. Joplin School District staff members are going to see some pay raises. Joplin Board of Education on Tuesday approved an updated agreement with employees' bargaining units to provide the raises across most positions. Those units, Joplin National Education Association and Joplin Education Support Professionals, have been fighting for pay increases. The amount of the increase will depend on how long the employee has worked for the district. Pittsburgh police work on their cardio for a good cause. As part of the 41st Annual Law Enforcement Torch Run, officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Lucking out so far. Hasn't been too bad on this Wednesday morning. We are going to have some widespread, not only rain, but thunderstorm activity here throughout the course of our Wednesday and into our Thursday. Most of the rain right now staying along and just below I-44. The heaviest band moving off to our east. In fact, even east of Springfield right now as it makes a north-south track through central Missouri. I-49 is going to be our dominant place where we see the heaviest rainfall. So be very apprised of that situation, whether you're going north or south for today or tomorrow, because it's going to take a little bit of a beating here up and down that north-south line. That will actually, not just us, it'll last from the Gulf Coast all the way up to the Canadian border. Now, while we do not have any warnings or watches associated with our rain, what we do have is a little issue with the wind. Now, it comes in from the south. It feeds us the warmer temperatures, but also brings us the Gulf moisture. And since we're rolling right now in between 15 and 22 miles per hour, we do have wind advisories in effect. Those last all the way until 7 o'clock tonight. These are not widespread on the other end, just a little swath of right along the state line, extending to the east through portions of central Missouri. But that gives you an idea about where that low pressure system is exactly going to form. Temperatures for this Wednesday morning, pretty comfortable for the most part. Whole bunch of low to high 50s. Far cry from the freeze warnings and frost advisories that we had just the other day. Give you a look from the national perspective. Even that storm off to the northeastern and New England portion of the United States, it has finally been able to calm down. A number of cancellations at airports for really the last 48 hours, the result of those storms. And so while it's cold out there, at least our precipitation is calming. We are kind of in the midst of our own little cell, and Arkansas right now just being dominated on this early Wednesday morning. However, the good news is when we put on the local storm reports, we do not see any pop up in the natural state as they need a break from the severe weather that they've been encompassed in for really the month of April is what it seems like. Weather trend for us today, work up into the mid to high 60s, so that's not too bad. Key factor is going to be how much rain can we pick up, and it'll end up being 1.25 inches to 1.75 inches as it continues to roll all the way through Thursday morning. At times we see the yellow, orange, and red popping up, an indicator of some very hard rain all the way through Thursday morning, and a 7-day forecast that will show you if we can just skip past the wind and the rain on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is going to be delightful. We're talking about partly sunny skies and highs up in the 80s. Saturday's looking good as well, as the rain really doesn't want to kick in until Saturday evening. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
A superhero update and a look back at the pioneers of West Coast rap. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Another Wonder Woman movie is in the works. Star Gal Gadot tells Forbes magazine, "We're actually in the mix of working on the script and getting the third one made. I'm super excited for the fans to come and watch Wonder Woman 3.
The music wasn't so big yet. Cypress Hill came and just kind of kicked that door in. We went from playing in front of 16 people to 150,000.
Latino hip-hop legends get the documentary treatment in Cypress Hill, Insane in the Brain. Percussionist Eric Bobo says watching the section on the group's Lollapalooza 94 performance brought it all back.
I just saw my face and like all the emotion, everything, nervousness, excitement, anxiety. But we were about to hit the stage in front of 400,000 or so people.
Cypress Hill, Insane in the Brain debuts on Showtime on Wednesday, 4/20. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Fitting day for that. Well, an artist in Tennessee putting the finishing touches on a mural in honor of slain rapper Young Dolph. The rapper, whose real name was Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., was fatally shot in November in Memphis. Mural appears on the side of a grocery store in Young Dolph's Castalia Heights neighborhood. Artist Tony Tunstall said this is one of the streets where he shot many of his videos. We've got a look at this summer's new Marvel movie, plus a story you may not want your cats to see. Here's David Daniel again.
These hands were once used for battle. Now they're but humble tools for peace. I need to figure out exactly who I am. I want to choose my own path, live in the moment. My superheroing days are over.
He's hung up his hammer. The first teaser trailer is out for Thor: Love and Thunder, with a look at New Asgard and Thor's iconic Mjolnir wielded by the new Thor, his one-time girlfriend, Jane Foster. Thor: Love and Thunder opens in theaters July 8th.
You win the game by being the last person left alive who hasn't exploded. That's basically it. The number of cards in your hand doesn't matter. Just don't blow up.
Prepare for the Exploding Kittens expanded universe. Netflix is turning the popular card game into a mobile game and an animated series. In the mobile game, due out in May, like the card game, players try not to draw a fatal exploding kitten card. The series, set to launch next year, will follow the epic struggle between good and evil, with God and the devil as house cats, of course. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, that's a look at some entertainment news. We'll be right back with another check of your forecast.
Two little bands that we're hanging on to right now. One along and south of I-44 in southwest Missouri, right along I-49. The other one up in the northeastern section of our four states in southwest Missouri as well. We will eventually pick up action throughout southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. Let's come back because we have a wind advisory in effect. We'll talk about it right after this.
Coming up, Amazon Prime takes the college tour at Missouri Southern.
While the rain isolated right now, we expect it to spread. It's going to be a stormy Wednesday. At least our temperatures cooperate. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Pittsburgh Police Department passes the torch to a worthy cause.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, we've got more rain in the forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be a wet one here throughout Wednesday and into Thursday as well. 55 degrees is where we stand over 7th and Rangeline. Look at that wind coming in from the south, gusting at 30 miles per hour at Joplin Regional Airport, leading us to wind advisories for our counties in tan all the way until 7 o'clock tonight. Consistently double digits. Now, the positive aspect of it is, at least if it blows in from the south, does bring us some warmer temperatures that we kind of deserved, being as how you have to go back all the way until last week since the last time we hit a normal mid-April temperature. Seeing some rain right through Joplin down in Neosho all the way to Mack County, then stretching across the state line into northwest Arkansas. Got to actually get south of Fayetteville, though, to pick up our last lightning strike. So that's a little bit of a nice sign, but then we're right back at it here in the northeastern section of the four states as well. For all of you out in southeast Kansas saying, oh, okay, we've been spared. No, we got a long way to go before this is over. We really got 2 days of rain that's going to come down. With that being said, though, it is very nice when you walk outside, as we're pretty much hanging in the mid-50s right now. That swath that you see that pushes off to the east of us, well, it's going to be replaced with additional low pressure that's going to bubble up rain throughout central Kansas and then head our way. Give you an idea on future track here as it continues to roll through. Wichita almost acts like that dividing line. That's kind of where it originates and then heads toward us. So we'll be looking at anywhere from 1.25 to 1.75 of rain, especially to the south, as it continues to hold on all the way through Thursday. Now, the 7-day forecast, after we get into Thursday late afternoon, evening, and the rain calms down, Friday's shaping up to be great because we'll have partly sunny skies and highs around the 80s. And Tanya, for the most part, Saturday's looking good as well because that rain doesn't want to kick in until the nighttime hours. So Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, still looking fabulous.
Yeah, can't complain about that.
Therein lies your time to mow.
Saturday morning?
Saturday, I'll go late morning into the afternoon.
I might do that.
Because that way you have a chance to dry out.
Because you have all day Friday to dry out.
You have a chance to dry out too, yeah.
We need to bring the lawnmower forecast back.
I can do that. I can do that.
It's that time of year again.
I think I'm going to reconstruct the graphic since we haven't used it since last year. I'm going to reconstruct the graphic and have a caricature of you pushing the lawnmower.
I like that.
I can do that.
But you need to have like different versions
Take that back.
of me. Like
Nick can do that. When I ask him, hey Nick, will you make me that?
I have one of those emojicons. I'll give you that one. I look really good at
Yeah, that's what I meant. That'd be perfect.
Yeah. had a lot of fun making that one day.
That would be perfect to have one of those. And I'll see if I can animate it and have you like pushing a lawnmower like this. So
But here's the deal, like it may be beautiful and sunny out, but it rained 3 days before, so the image has to be like me struggling to push it through the mud.
the front wheels like down in the mud.
Or the grass is so tall that I can't get it through it.
That's like,
It's a double pass day.
that way I don't have to worry about making the rest of the caricature. If you just send me the emoji face, I'll just make the grass up to here. And it'll be like, oh look, Tanya's mowing the grass.
If anybody drove by my house right now, they'd be like, Tanya, come on. We talked about it all last week.
Okay, we will have
Hey,
fun. We will
things
have fun
happen,
with
it
this.
doesn't get done.
It'll be good. No, it'll be good. We'll have fun with this graphic then.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, it was 23 years ago today that 2 teenage gunmen killed 13 people in a shooting spree at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. Rampage started at approximately 11:19 a.m. as the 2 shooters began their spree before moving indoors. By 11:35, 12 students and 1 teacher had been gunned down and another 23 people had been wounded. Just after noon, the 2 shooters turned their guns on themselves and died by suicide. The crime prompted a national debate on gun control and school safety, as well as a major investigation to determine what motivated the teen gunmen. Shootings at Columbine were among the worst school shootings in U.S. history. That is until April 16, 2007, when 32 people were shot and many others wounded by a student gunman on the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg, Virginia. March of 2018, analysis by the Washington Post found that since the Columbine shootings in 1999, there have been 10 school shootings each year on average in the United States. Hard work pays off as Joplin School District staff members get to see some pay raises. The Joplin Board of Education on Tuesday approved an updated agreement with employees' bargaining units to provide the raises across most positions. Those units, Joplin National Education Association and Joplin Education Support Professionals, have been fighting for pay increases. The amount of the increase will depend on how long the employee has worked at the school.
The main goal is our students, and our working conditions are their learning conditions, so we want to make sure that we have the best opportunity for everyone. So when they approved our ratified agreement tonight, what they basically said is that we approve all the working conditions and our CBA or our bargaining agreement plus our salary schedule.
The raises affect bus drivers, custodians and maintenance workers and will be in place until June 30th of 2023. For teachers, librarians and counselors, their raises will last until June 30th of 2024. Amazon Prime shines a spotlight on Missouri Southern State University. The streaming service is on campus filming a series called The College Tour. It's hosted by former winner of The Amazing Race, Alex Bolin. Series highlights life on college and university campuses around the globe by sharing the personal stories of current students and focusing on academics, housing, and athletics.
No, we always say, I mean, this is reality at its finest. I mean, because it's real students and it's their real stories. And we just kind of bring that to life with the episode of television.
Film crew will be on campus and around Joplin through Friday. Pittsburgh police work up a sweat for a good cause. As part of the 41st annual law enforcement torch run, officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month.
So when we run into the stadium and they're kind of cheering for us, and then we get to cheer for them, and then after we're done we change into uniform and we go hand out the medals to them. So that's really fun.
Torch runs will also be held statewide, culminating in Wichita for the Summer Games in early June. Well, some kids in Joplin show that learning can take time, but it's worth it. More than 60 kids at Kelsey Norman Elementary stayed after school 2 days a week as part of a running club, but it's not just about exercise. They also learn about kindness, compassion, and leadership.
The kids that I was working with especially are very energetic. They don't have the attention span that some kids in their grade do, and so I really wanted to facilitate a way to get them outside and really show them how they can control themselves, how they can get that energy out.
Each of the children get a chain or necklace with feet charms, a little foot that gets added as they reach a certain amount of miles. And you can search for Let's Support Kelsey Norman's Running Club on GoFundMe to donate money for this after-school program. Area gardeners will soon make their way to Neosho, Missouri for the high school's annual plant sale. Next week, Neosho FFA will be selling plants ranging from flowers and bedding plants to potted plants and vegetables. Plants have been grown by local agriculture and FFA students. The money raised will go back into the high school's greenhouse and help fund some activities, including summer camp.
The plant sale is kind of like the end of our year-long project. So in ag, we do a lot of hands-on learning. And so this is a great opportunity for students to not only learn about raising and caring for plants, but to see the end product go out to customers.
Plant sale will be next Tuesday through Thursday from 3:30 to 6.
Tell you what, this swath of rain, Tanya, right here from the south side of Joplin down through Neosho to Mack County, this thing has not budged. It's just hanging right there. So we don't have a whole lot of eastward movement. One development we do have is right along the Oklahoma-Kansas state line. Now we're starting to pick up some additional rainfall. Combo that with the break we get in the central up to the additional rain that we're getting up in the north. Remember, we're going to have widespread rain today. It is an alert day because we have a wind advisory effect till 7 o'clock tonight, and do not leave without the umbrella. Light jacket will suffice, that's for sure. Temperature's not too bad, but gonna be a wet one out there.
That's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we've got Julie Smith and Mark Johnson in studio for an interview talking about an upcoming auction that you can take part in. It's going to help raise funds for the Wildcat Extension Education Foundation. Plus, a new report ranks the Mississippi River among the most endangered in the country. Advocates hope they've got a solution to the problem. And a new blood test called liquid biopsy may be the future of cancer screening. We'll explain. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. A new report ranks the Mississippi River among the most endangered in the country. Experts say climate change and pollution are two of the most pressing issues, but as Kirsten Mitchell reports, advocates hope new federal funding will help restore the waterway.
From Lake Itasca to the Gulf of Mexico, the Mississippi River pumps life across 10 states.
There's so much happening here, and it's the core of Minneapolis.
Home to more than 800 species, it creates an estimated $400 billion in economic activity each year.
It is an important flyway for migratory birds. It provides drinking water to 20 million residents. It is an important economic and recreational resource, but it's also a river under threat.
A new report from American Rivers ranked the Mississippi River the 6th most endangered river of 2022.
Climate change is exacerbating these threats and causing more flooding that threatens the communities that live and rely on the Mississippi River.
The nonprofit Friends of the Mississippi River is not surprised by the findings.
The biggest threat to the Mississippi River in Minnesota is runoff pollution, whether that is from urban landscapes or agricultural landscapes.
We need nature, and nature is here on this river, and we have to protect it.
Lawmakers will consider federal legislation this year that, if passed, would fund $300 million for improvements.
Restore habitat, reduce aquatic invasive species, and build more green infrastructure along the river that is resilient to storms and floods.
I'm glad that it's getting publicity and the word is out so that they can do what they need to do. I think most people want it to be a clean recreational river.
Again, lawmakers are considering legislation that, if passed, would fund $300 million for improvements. Legislation was written with equity in mind, with more money dedicated to communities of color and areas that have suffered the highest cost of environmental degradation. That's a look at today's top national story. We'll be right back with the K-State Extension Office right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, where we do not do fake stuff, according to one Julie Smith. Fortunate enough to be joined by Julie and also Dr. Mark Johnson from the Kansas Wildcat Extension District, because we've got there's no such thing as a bad virtual auction that takes place in the 4 states. But the Wildcat Extension District, first off, thank you so much for joining us early this morning. There's no such thing as a bad virtual auction, but the amount of items that your organization has been able to come up with, and the benefit and what it sustains going forward is truly amazing. So, Julie, I'd like to start with you. Sure. When you talk up to people about why this is important, what do you tell them about what this means for the future of children that take part in the Wildcat Extension District?
Well, the foundation was formed to really help support direct educational programming within the district. So it's just over and beyond funding for us to be able to help kids and families throughout the entire district. So we've had agents that we've purchased like a mobile beehive to go into the school districts, which is just something extra that we wouldn't have been able to do without the foundation support.
And also it's amazing what the Wildcat Extension District does when it comes to opportunities for kids, and the fact that sometimes you're like, hey, you know what, we're going to front the bill on this. And it's through, through auctions like this that you're able to do this. Dr. Mark, how in the world were you able to secure items that are so unique and so cool and represent the 4 states so well?
It's not hard when you're working for kids. All you have to do is ask. So most of the businesses in Pittsburgh and the surrounding area support 4-H programs already, probably through the county fair or other services that we do. But when you walk in and you say, you want to help a kid get a start, help them on their future, their career, like it did for me back when I was a kid, it's easy. I don't get a no. Everybody wants to help.
Julie, when we talk about 4-H from where it was, and the Wildcat Extension District encompasses so many other things as well, but Dr. Mark talked about 4-H right there. When we talk about 4-H when Dr. Mark and I were kids, we often harken back to the county fair, the showing of the livestock and whatnot. But we've seen such a maturation process in keeping up, especially when it comes to STEM activities. How have you seen that affect the development of children as they've come up through the Wildcat District?
Well, what I've seen just in the 2.5 years that I've been with Extension, and I don't work with the 4-H program directly, but the leadership skills that develop maybe at that younger age of 7 and then up through some of the seniors that we have this year and the things that they're doing, it's just really exciting to see. They're going to be very successful in life, and going back to all of the leadership skills that they're taught through 4-H is, I think, very important.
And Julie, if you bring up, I don't want to say a differentiating factor right there, because 4-H is encompassed as a part of the Wildcat District, but the Wildcat Extension District is so much more as well. Yes, 4-H is a part of it, but if you could kind of explain to people exactly what kids pick up from this. You talked about the leadership skills, but folks, you don't have to be raising livestock or be showing at a county fair to really pick up what you can learn later in life and become a successful adult.
Right. For instance, for my child, when she was in 4-H as a young, it was really good for her just to have to be able to talk in front of adults.
Exactly.
The judging process at the county fair, to just sit down and explain her project, that's not something that she would have probably had without 4-H, and makes them kind of get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And at a young age, then as they develop into teenagers, you can just really see them shine, and it's exciting.
Mark, when it's so easy to go to. All you have benefitbidding.com/Wildcat, benefitbidding.com/Wildcat. As you were going through this, what were some of the favorites that you picked out that you were just like, I guarantee nobody else in the 4 states is going to be able to offer that opportunity?
Well, for example, we have the chicken tour, so nearly every chicken restaurant in Crawford County you get.
6 chicken restaurants.
We've got 4 hotels that are providing free nights lodgings, and we're pairing those with dinners, so you can come to Pittsburgh, stay the weekend in a hotel for free, and enjoy the sights and sounds of Southeast Kansas. We've got a concrete picnic table and bench from Pittsburgh State University School of Construction, and they can build it to your own specs and put your family logo or whatever you want to put on the table right in the concrete. There's lots of other cool things, Jim's Steakhouse. We've got coupons for it, and several of the restaurants in the Pittsburgh area. We've got things from fire pits to you just name it. We have a sundry of things. I have an artist, a local artist, that donated the Looking Cow, one of her paintings, in the Kansas sunset. So lots of cool stuff.
And also, too, I understand that Derek Mayne's going to give us a shooting
Absolutely.
clinic.
Right, the opportunity to shoot with an Olympian, that's pretty
I was going to
exciting.
say,
Yeah.
I saw that on there. I'm like, folks, how many times are you even going to have the chance to never mind meet an Olympian? And this actually gives you a chance to pick up lessons from him. Julie, what does it mean to the Wildcat Extension District as a whole to see community members come out and offer their support and offer up these wonderful opportunities for bidders?
Well, we're very thankful for all of our donors, both in the sponsorships and then also all of the things that we've been given. I think it shows that they are really eager to support kids, like Mark said, and families. So we're really appreciative to all of our donors, and I love the idea that we'll be able to get some, I think that there's some dog food and just some things that, everyone you can buy something that you're going to buy anyway and still support our foundation.
And there are things that are on there for as low as $10.
That's right.
And think about that, folks. Like Julie just brought up a great point. These are things you're going to go get at your store anyway, so why not do it and help a kid progress and learn life skills. Dr. Mark, take us through the particulars one more time about where we can bid and how we can get a hold of it.
So you go to the bidding site, benefitbidding.com Wildcat. Also, if you don't see anything you like, which I find that hard to believe.
That's going to be hard to
But if you just want to donate, you can go to the website also and donate at the website. So come online, check us out, look at all the things that we have to offer, and most importantly, know that whatever dollar you give, you're helping a kid today in their future.
And for all of you out there that are going to bid in the New Orleans trip, you'll be up against me, and if you do win it, I'll be more than happy to accompany you down to the Big Easy. Dr. Mark Johnson, Julie Smith, I want to thank you both, and thank you for what you do for our children as well through part of the Wildcat Extension District.
Thank
you. You can find all these details online at KOAMnewsnow.com, and we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a new type of blood test could become the next frontier in cancer screening. It's known as a liquid biopsy, designed to detect dozens of cancers before there are signs of disease. Kate Smith has the story.
Joyce Ayers thought she was a healthy 74-year-old when she volunteered to give a blood sample for research. What happened next was a shock.
I got a call that said, "We're finding something here and we want to look at it a little bit more."
Ayers was participating in a test known as liquid biopsy. Researchers in Portland, Oregon screened people with no signs of cancer as a method of early detection. After being called back for further tests, Ayers was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma.
The tests work by checking DNA fragments from tumor cells, but the question is whether this sort of screening can cut the nation's death rate from cancer.
Government researchers are planning a large experiment with as many as 200,000 participants to see whether blood tests can save lives.
Once we get to the point where this trial is up and running, we'll need many Americans to sign up and participate.
Grail is one of the companies making the blood tests and marketing them to adults at higher risk for cancer.
And if we can find these cancers at earlier stages, before people have symptoms, they're offered many more options for effective treatment, and they're often curable.
The concern is that screenings sometimes do more harm than good, bringing false positives and unnecessary costs. But for Ayers, the early diagnosis means treatment is already behind her.
I'm 75 and very much alive. That's a good one. I'm alive, and I'm going to stay alive for a while.
Allowing her to greet her 75th birthday with joy. Kate Smith, CBS News.
It's my goal for 75 too. The White House has announced a goal of cutting cancer death rate in half over the next 25 years. New research finds increasing health risks for people with severe mental illness. A study in the UK found the cardiovascular related mortality rate for severely mentally ill patients is about twice that of the general population. Patients with schizophrenia are at greater risk than those with bipolar disorder. Researchers say the risk has in fact worsened in recent decades. Stroke survivors may be able to improve their well-being by using online programs that provide lifestyle and behavior techniques. A study in Australia referred patients to a website designed for stroke survivors to help set goals and monitor progress. Those who used the program reported a better health-related quality of life. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, Amazon Prime takes the college tour at Missouri Southern.
Starting to see a little bit more rain develop here on the Skywatch storm tracker radar. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Pittsburgh Police Department passes this torch for a worthy cause.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:32. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment.
A little overcast start over 7th and Rangeline, but so far the intersection has remained on the dry side. 55 degrees. Look at that wind gusting at 30 miles per hour at Joplin Regional Airport. The dry side is not where the rest of the 4 states may be at this point in time in your backyard, especially when you get south of I-44 through southwest Missouri as rain rolls through Newton and McDonald County across the Arkansas state line into Benton County, and now we're getting a little more development there. Labette County, then down into northeast Oklahoma as well. The lightning tracker is active. We've been on the lucky side. We just haven't picked up any strikes where we see our pockets of rain now beginning to develop. Let's talk a little bit about that wind as we have a wind advisory for counties in tan lasting until 7 o'clock tonight, where we'll be rolling in between, say 20 to 25 miles per hour sustained, gusting from 35 to 40 miles per hour. Now, as long as it comes in from the south, that does mean much more tolerable temperatures than what we had the other morning when we were talking about wind chills in the 20s. Nah, we're rolling 50s right now. That's not too bad whatsoever. Rain is going to increase throughout the rest of the morning as it rolls through. Everything works from west to east. And even though we get little intermittent breaks, it likes to come back on us, especially the central and southern portions all the way into Thursday morning. Well, we'll see some pockets of some real heavy rain coming down. We'll look at anywhere from 1.25 to 1.75 of rain by the time we're done Thursday afternoon. Then, great looking Friday, great looking most of Saturday, until we get some rain that formulates Saturday night into Sunday. But really, Friday 80s, most of Saturday starting off great, up around 8. We'll throw some, average it out, 79. We'll throw some 80s in there. It's going to be delightful.
Earlier this morning I was questioning, have we hit 80 degrees yet this year?
So that's really interesting that you say that. And here's why. The other day I was thinking, is this the warmest day of the year? How many times have we hit 80? Now, Tanya, I did this on Monday. It's crazy that you say that. Tanya and I we have not had this conversation. We've actually hit 80 about 8 times this year.
Really?
I know. I think we become prisoners of the moment. We get locked in that cold spell and we're like, how many times, what's our warmest day? And
yeah, back in February, right?
As a matter of fact, it was.
I think it was.
It was. You're exactly right. That was the first time that we hit 80. And we forget, do you remember how warm Christmas Day was?
Yeah, it was warm.
Around 70 degrees. Yeah, I know.
Sure was.
And that's something else. Granted, that was last year, I know, but it's so funny you bring that up because, like I said, it wasn't but Monday that I went back and I looked at that thinking, today's got to be the warmest. 80. Oh my gosh, no, never mind.
All right, we need to dwell on those good things.
Let's get a string of them. That's the key. What we need is that 7-day that rolls like in between 75 and 82.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thanks, Michael. Amazon Prime shines a spotlight on Missouri Southern State University. The streaming service is on campus filming a series called The College Tour. It's hosted by a former winner of the Amazing Race, Alex Bolin. Series highlights life on college and university campuses around the globe by sharing the personal stories of current students and focusing on academics, housing, and athletics.
No, we always say, this is reality at its finest. Because it's real students and it's their real stories. And we just kind of bring that to life with the episode of television.
The film crew will be on campus and around Joplin through Friday. Pittsburgh police work up a sweat for a good cause. As part of the 41st annual law enforcement torch run, officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Now, yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month.
So when we run into the stadium and they're kind of cheering for us, and then we get to cheer for them, and then after we're done, we change into uniform and we go hand out the medals to them. So that's really fun.
Torch runs will also be held statewide, culminating in Wichita for the Summer Games in early June. Joplin School District staff members will see some pay raises. Joplin Board of Education on Tuesday approved an updated agreement with employees' bargaining units to provide the raises across most positions. Those units, Joplin National Education Association and Joplin Education Support Professionals, have been fighting for pay increases. The amount of the increase will depend on how long the employee has worked for the district.
I want to work where our students are taken care of, and also the fact that we have an opportunity to not only have good working conditions, but we also have a voice. And that's the difference at Joplin schools. Our teachers have a voice here. If there's any issues, we take care of it immediately and make sure it's a good working environment.
The agreement for bus drivers, custodians, and maintenance workers will be in place until June 30th of 2023. Now for teachers, librarians, and counselors, that one runs until June 30th of 2024. Well, on this date, back in 1986, the Chicago Bulls' Michael Jordan scores 63 points in an NBA playoff game against the Boston Celtics. This set a postseason scoring record. Despite Jordan's achievements, the Bulls lost to the Celtics in double overtime, 135-131. Bulls made it to the playoffs 3 more times in a row before winning their first NBA championship. Remember, that was in '91, a feat the team repeated in '92 and '93. Jordan finished his career with 5 NBA Most Valuable Player awards, 14 All-Star Game appearances, and 3 All-Star MVP titles, 10 scoring titles, and 2 Olympic gold medals.
Don't get mad at me when I say this. These are the words of another NBA Hall of Famer. I think he's God disguised as Michael Jordan. You know who said that about that game? Larry Bird.
Larry Bird?
Yeah. Yeah.
He had some skills.
Larry, that is Larry Bird's line. I'll never forget that line. I think he's God disguised as Michael Jordan. Yeah, and the crazy thing is when, like, even us sports nerds, even when we talk about that game, a lot of people think that the Bulls won that game.
And they didn't, you know, because it takes a whole team, not just one player.
Right. They lost on a 63-point Michael Jordan night. Isn't that something else? All right, we have an alert day in effect because a wind advisory lasts until 7 o'clock tonight. Waiting for the rain to spread, and it will throughout the late morning and afternoon hours. It is going to rain all the way into Thursday, somewhere in the 4 states. Still looking at a gorgeous Friday and gorgeous Saturday as well.
That's a look at our top news. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, we take a look at one eco-friendly retreat in London that aims to go entirely green. Plus, a video of a high school teacher in drag goes viral. Some criticized the performance while others supported it. And we want to know if you've ever been to a local drag show. We'll let you weigh in. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, we've all seen those signs in hotels encouraging us to reuse our towels for the sake of the planet. Well, an eco-friendly retreat in London claims to be the world's first hotel to go entirely green. Tina Kraus has the story.
Welcome to Room 2 Chiswick. This is one of our rooms.
At first glance, it's a traditional hotel room.
Feels very homey.
Exactly, right?
But a closer look at London's first home-tel reveals its planet-saving secrets.
When focusing specifically on carbon, Room 2 Chiswick is the most sustainable hotel in the world.
Instead of fossil fuels, renewable energy powers the building. There are solar panels on the roof, and geothermal pumps pull heat from deep underground.
That converts 100% of our heating, cooling and hot water needs.
The showers, said to use 40% less water, are a guest favorite.
The water pressure and the water temperature are perfect.
And motion sensors help save more energy.
When there's no movement detected in the room, there's no heating and no electricity being burned.
Waste is a dirty word inside this plastic-free property. Clean and green is the name of the game.
They're cooking here and they're recycling here.
Exactly, and so the food waste we're going to be composting on site, and then we can use that for our vegetable garden.
Even the carpets are recycled, made from fishing nets collected from the ocean.
As a small initiative which helps reduce plastic pollution and puts it to a new useful life.
All of the eco-friendly features keep guests like Jared Brown coming back.
Oh, I absolutely sleep better in an environmentally friendly hotel.
This is the future.
Creators hope hotels around the world will follow their lead and sleep better, doing their part for the planet. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
To support biodiversity, some special guests live on the rooftop of the hotel. Around 75,000 bees are busy making honey that will eventually be sold to travelers. That was good. I did not want a room on the top for myself. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM Insta poll on our morning Facebook page, Wisconsin high school teacher Matt Cashton went viral for a staff talent show where he performed in drag. His performance met with both support and criticism. Crowd from the school loved it. Concerned parents, not so much. And the school saying going forward, it is going to vet its talent show acts. I think that begs the question, why were they not doing that before then? Not that I don't love all you educators out there, but being raised by one, I know the sense of humor that you tend to have as well. Our question for you is, have you ever been to a local drag show? Right now, 45% say yes, 55% have not been to one. You can take part each and every morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us via our Facebook page. We're going to come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, a trip to the Big Apple. Let's check in with Gail.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, author Chloe Benjamin on how the high point of her career came with a physical breakdown. Oh no, how she's now redefining success. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Robert Williams. Williams served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. His hometown, Leroy, Kansas. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Robert Williams.
The birthday list begins with Easton Hines, looking amazed about his 9th birthday that he's got. Easton, a very happy birthday to you as he celebrates in Anderson.
All right, Brianna Clugston is celebrating Sweet 16 today. Hope you have a wonderful birthday, Brianna.
Grady Barton is celebrating his 18th birthday. A very happy birthday to Grady. He is in Fredonia.
All right. And Gina Cable turning double fours, 44th birthday for Miss Cable. Hope you have a wonderful day.
In Iola, Gene Myrick. Let's see if I can try to get a look at the placard on that. Gene, I apologize for not being able to read the placard right there. That's very important, and thank you for displaying that as well. And obviously, Gene with an affinity for not only those Oklahoma Sooners, but also those Iola Mustangs, as Gene celebrates his 58th. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful picture right there. That is great.
All right. And we have LaDonna Gregg. Little throwback picture there for LaDonna. That's a pretty fun picture there. LaDonna is 60 years old today. She's in Neosho.
There's something about that. I'm going to go school photo, you think?
I think so.
I think
Senior
so.
photo or something like
that? Yeah, it's got that school photo to it. Happy birthday, LaDonna. Dixie Murdoch is celebrating her, her 83rd birthday in Parsons. Dixie, a very, very happy birthday to you. Caden Bowers, let's run down to Fairland, Oklahoma, because Caden Bowers is turning 11, and I got a birthday note. It says, "Happy birthday, bub, we love you," from Mom, Dad, and Kane. So Caden, there's your birthday wish from the fam, my man. And Jeff and Bev Beaver, they are celebrating an anniversary. The Beavers, hopefully, get to a night of celebration there in Joplin. And a happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this April the 20th. This is where you can send them into KOAMTV.com. You can also go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Coming up when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14, going to introduce you to a couple of people bringing medical attention to a segment of the homeless population that we don't hear about very often. That's their pets. Going to meet two people that are known as street vets. That story and more coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 at 7 o'clock. Here's a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. We are still holding on to that band of rain along and south of I-44, running from Newton County down through McDonald County and then across the state line into Benton County, Arkansas. That thing just has not budged. And then we've got that one from Labette down into northeast Oklahoma. We're starting to pick up just a little bit. We're certainly not widespread, if you will, but now we're starting to see just little pockets pop up on us. And that will be our key for not only today, but all the way through tomorrow as well. Our temperatures are going to be up into the high 60s. Temperatures aren't going to be a problem. What is going to be a problem is trying to stay dry, because as we work through the afternoon and nighttime hours, it wants to clear off, but then we're right back at it for Thursday morning as well, if not even a little bit more intense for Thursday morning, especially for the west and central portion of the 4 states. Gradually warming up, hit the 80s by Friday. Good looking Saturday. Remember that weekend rain doesn't want to kick in until the evening. So most of Saturday is going to be on the good side as well. We'll be right back after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signs a bill to allow law enforcement to keep secret audio or video recordings showing an officer dying in the line of duty. The bill Governor Stitt signed was drafted after Tulsa police were required by Oklahoma law to release video of a suspect shooting 2 officers, one of whom later died. The bill prohibits the public disclosure of such video unless a judge determines the public interest outweighs the reason for denial. It also authorizes a deceased officer's family members to view the audio or video. Baby formula may be harder to find for some. A shortage of baby formula, inflation, and product recalls have made it harder for families to find the formula. Newton County Health Department's WIC program says they've been receiving more calls asking what to do if parents cannot find formula. They advise parents to call the health department with any questions about getting formula or alternatives. Joplin School District staff members are going to see some pay raises. The Joplin Board of Education on Tuesday approved an updated agreement with employees' bargaining units to provide the raises across most positions. Those units, Joplin National Education Association and Joplin Education Support Professionals, have been fighting for pay increases. The amount of the increase will depend on how long the employee has worked for the district. And Pittsburgh police work on their cardio for a good cause. As part of the 41st annual Law Enforcement Torch Run, officers ran from the Pittsburgh Police Department to Pitt State's football field, passing the torch to each other along the way. Yesterday's torch run sets up the Kansas Special Olympics Southeast Spring Games next month. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Don't leave out the door without the umbrella. It's not widespread as of right now, but it's just going to linger here really for the next 48 hours. We're going, I should say 36. Let's go 36 hours. We're going to be locked in rain, just kind of rolling through the 4 states. Good old-fashioned spring thunderstorm activity. Ground should be stable enough to avoid any flooding concerns. We do still have an advisory on the board. That will be a wind advisory for our counties in tan until 7 o'clock tonight. Temperatures, though, very comfortable. Right now, mid to high 50s already. That's hard to beat. But remember, as the rain continues to come throughout the course of our day, we're going to end up with anywhere from about 1.25 inches to 1.75 inches of rain here by the time it's said and done. Great looking Friday and Saturday, though. There's our light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making an egg roll in a bowl in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Mornings coming up next. President Biden weighing his options after the abrupt end to America's mask mandate. Confusion still reigning amongst commuters about when and where to wear a mask.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we've got guests from the K-State Extension Service stopping by to tell us about an auction that you can be a part of, helping to raise money for a good cause.
All right, raincoat, umbrella, do me a favor, big one. Be safe, we'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.